Today, we're going to watch a time lapse of me painting Ranni the Witch from Elden Ring. Hey everybody, so we're actually going to draw Ranni the Witch with a little bit of spice today. And when I say spice, I just mean instead of drawing Ranni the Witch as we normally see her in Elden Ring, which is blue and dead and lunar princess of awesomeness, I wonder what it would look like if she was alive. I actually found a lot of videos about her appearance, what she might have looked like, who she might have resembled. A lot of it went off of genetics, such as her father being Radigan and her mother, Renala, as well as Renala's sister, who, they have similarities in eyes and hair color. Now, everyone felt that there was a consensus that she would have red hair and not black hair like her mother or aunt. And while we still don't have a great idea of what Ranni actually looked like before she met the witch and died, we do have some clips of her burnt body, and the implication is that a lot of people felt like they saw red hair. But one of the videos I really enjoyed actually went into what they felt like she was wearing and how that was modeled off of academic clothing, and it was just a really neat video. And so I sort of went for her being an academic and a scholar, and I hope that it resembles that in the drawing. But if you haven't noticed, I've changed my setup a little bit of how the video is playing. Let me know if you like it more or less than the other styles that I've had up. I'm just branching out, seeing what people like, seeing what you guys might like better. This is actually not a failure speed paint, but it is one that is not as successful as I wanted it to be, mostly because I got to a point where I actually think it looked very good, and I couldn't get the hair right, and I kept blaming it on the face, which in the end, after a lot of trial and tribulation, I do think it was because I was drawing her eyes too large. But overall, I was really happy with the way the colors came out. I tried to emulate what I did in my Darcy painting video, which you can see on the left side, and really went for those saturated values that just really popped. And she had a awesome color scheme in life, as she does in death. And with that red hair, I thought the blue eyes or green eyes would have been good, but I went for blue because I feel like it matched, and it gave her a similar look to her mother, which Renala has kind of lavender eyes, but I thought blue would match really well considering that she is basically the lunar princess, and the moon, of course, is blue. Although she is the shadow lunar princess or the shadow moon, I still think that Elden Ring really created some of the most vibrant and well-formed characters. I know a lot of people dislike how hard it is to find lore in the game because it really is not given to you easily. You really have to dig, and most of the lore comes from just tidbits on weapons and areas of the game that sometimes you don't even find until way, way after you have met that boss. So I just find it really interesting. And of course, G.R.R. Martin helped with the world building lore, and I really enjoy listening to the videos that kind of explain to us how a lot of this lore relates to real world religion and societies. For Ranni, I really liked how she was based fully in academia and more of a, I wouldn't say atheism because they do worship the moon, but they are definitely not monotheism, and they definitely are not a fan of the Golden Order, which is really awesome that you can have such diverse cultures in a video game. Now, personally, Elden Ring is so hard for me. I die so many times, but it's just such a cool game in terms of the lore that I cannot stop going back and just looking around and seeing what I can find. Now, this photo, I felt like her face at this point was actually okay. So here is where I go back to an earlier version because I could not, or felt that I could not get her face shape right. And now that I've had time to walk away from it and I have tried to redraw it a couple times, I realized that if I had possibly shrank her eyes slightly and lowered her eyebrows, I think I would have been less upset with the proportions. I feel that sometimes when I'm drawing, especially with that reference, which this was without reference, I just kind of went in blind and based it off of the screen cap of her in her dead form, her puppet form, and just tried to build off that and imagine what she might have looked like. And so I think the fact that I didn't have a reference both helped in the way that it allowed me to really be creative and cartoonish with it in terms of color, but it hindered me in the fact that because there was no reference, I struggled a little bit with the proportions of her face, and instead of taking the time to maybe get a 3D model, I just kind of stopped and walked away from it, which is what I say I should do in all of my videos, and I do think that was the right thing to do, but I didn't buckle down and really try to figure out why it wasn't working, because at the time, it wasn't that important to me. I do hope that you enjoyed this video and that you like the end result. I do like where it came out to. Next week, I'll try to show you the additional part of the portrait, which is, I can never remember her name, Melina, I believe, and they were going to be matching portraits, and it was going to be them in life and them in death, and I just thought that that would be a really cool two sides of the same coin. So, I hope you enjoy it. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe, let me know if you like this format or if you'd like to see something different. I'll see you in the next